Hello and welcome to the You About podcast. Now, before we get into this is a swear warning. If there is a little bit of bad language, we apologise. Now, this podcast is usually myself, Roman Kemp, and the wonderful Tom Grennan. But Tom's not here. He's been touring around. He's been writing in Sweden. He's going to be back very soon. But today's a special day. Today is the final episode of BBC's Race Across the World, specifically Celebrity Race Across the World, that I've been doing alongside my sister Harleymoon. And it's just finished. The series is done. There will be spoilers in this chat, okay? So if you haven't watched it yet, don't listen. And if you're stuck in the car listening to this, tough. Go back and watch it on iPlayer, because I'm joined by my partner in crime, Harley. Woo! That was weird introducing that. Would you prefer me to introduce you as Harleymoon or what? I think
Harleymoon is my name.
Are you annoyed by your name?
In life?
Yeah, because
No, it sounds like a Care Bear character. Everybody needs a Harleymoon.
But people think
like
that it's either hyphenated or two separate words.
Yeah, well,
even in here it says two separate words.
Yeah, well, once I tried to book a flight.
Yeah.
And they weren't sure, and I was speaking to someone, trying to change a flight, and they said Harleymoon, and I said yes. No space moon. And they were going, Harley Space Moon?
Space Moon.
And I was like, Harley no Space moon.
No
and
space
I was
moon.
like, this is such a stupid call. I just had to hang up and speak to someone else.
Why did Mum and Dad call you that?
Because when I was born 2 weeks late, and Mum went to some hippie hospital in Hendon.
Right.
And they wouldn't give her any drugs. And the doctor came over and Mum said she really remembers it. She was fuming, like, please help me get this baby out. And the doctor went, she'll be born on the full moon. And she said she remembers it 'cause she wanted to punch his lights out. And then that weekend was a harvest moon.
Right, big.
But that is the most popular night of the year for babies to be born because it pulls the tide.
I wonder if there'll be more something moons, your type name, now that you've done Race Across the World.
Well, if people are delighted with me... They can moony it up. We'll have a moony party every month.
Exactly. Well, look, we did it.
Yeah.
We completed the race. We'll get to where we came later on. We got to the destination. That's your first.
I thought you weren't going to make it. I'm not going to lie. On the first night.
You thought I wasn't going to make it?
Yeah.
First night, yeah.
I feel you were thinking, what have we signed up for?
Well, I will say this, right? I had the same feeling as when I did I'm A Celeb. It was the same feeling.
Yeah.
The first couple of nights, you just got to get through that first couple of nights because you're adjusting to what is going on. You're adjusting to new people. Like Tyler come on this podcast, and obviously we explained it. Like, you go around and there's me, you, and 5 others. And that, these are your team, your kind of guys that you rock around with, and you're all learning about each other. You basically become a family that are traveling gap year together
with the crew.
Yeah, with the crew. And most of you have never met before. So I think getting through those first couple of nights for me was like, okay.
It was a shock to the system.
Yeah.
But I really thought that I was going to find it easy. I have to be honest. After watching the show, I thought, that looks great. I love travelling. I think I'm going to find this easy. And on night one, I thought, what the hell have we signed up for?
Yeah.
Because it's all the elements. You're jet lagged at the beginning. You're lost. You don't speak the language. It's boiling. The backpack. You don't have your phone. You don't have the money. And you're in a race looking over your shoulder, high with adrenaline, trying to get across a country you don't know what's on the other side.
Is there anything from the race that you haven't recovered from yet?
You know what? I felt like the second that we got back home,
you were done.
It was like the whole thing was a dream. That's what was so surreal. Yeah, I just thought, I kind of felt like I'd walked into a brand new reality. Because what's amazing, I think, is how quickly humans can adapt to their surroundings. I really was surprised by how quickly we were lost in the race. I thought I would always be aware, this is just a game. It's just a race. But I wasn't. I was screaming for the bus. I was running as fast as I could to not miss the connection because I cared so much.
Yeah.
And I think when you're so immersed in it and then you just like drop back home and you think, oh,
That's it.
that's it now.
What, you didn't want to turn your phone back on?
No, I didn't want to turn my phone on.
That was the thing that like I was all right. Like this time around, like again, my only touch point with something like that is I'm a Celeb, right? That it's the same sort of situation. You kind of go away for a little while. Ours was almost, over double the amount of time that you go away for I'm a Celeb. And then when we got our phones back, because I'd been through that experience before of almost like that anxiety of what am I about to face here? Like imagine, the only way I can describe it, anyone that's listening to this, it's like imagine your phone goes and you've lost your phone for 3 weeks. There's going to be a build up of messages. There's going to be work that want things from you, and then all of a sudden someone goes, right, it's time to turn it on and see how much work you've got to do. It's like waiting to see how much homework you've got.
Yeah.
Is that how you felt?
I just was so exhausted that I couldn't entertain that yet. I think it took a while over the couple of days just to...
Did you like not having the phone though?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, actually. It really changed my perspective. I've since come home and turned all my notifications off.
Have you?
So I don't have any WhatsApp, I don't have any Instagram, no Twitter, no updates, no nothing on my phone whatsoever. The only thing I get is a phone call.
You don't get any text?
I have to check my phone and go into the app.
Yeah, but do you not find yourself checking more?
No.
That would make me feel more sad because I'd I'd check it and I'd be like, oh, no one cares.
No messages. I just think, turning your notifications off is really nice because you're not constantly reaching for it.
Yeah, I like that. I don't think I could do that though.
I have a question though.
What?
What was harder, race or I'm a Celeb?
Race, goes on.
Yes.
It was harder.
I wanted to be
Are you saying
in the
that to
hard
say
one.
that because of Dad?
No, just because I wanted to be in the toughest one.
Yeah, it's hard. No, they're different. They're different. They're very different. In I'm a Celeb, you've got to do trials.
I wouldn't like a huntsman spider on me.
No, exactly. And it depends on what you think about things like that. It was nothing really... Yeah, but we say that, but there were still like tarantulas in like our rooms that, people didn't see.
Yeah, when we got to...
Belize.
No, before that, when we went to Guatemala...
Yeah.
And went to that eco lodge.
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah, they were big.
It wasn't in the show. It didn't make the edit where we slept that night. But it was essentially a chicken shed in the jungle.
Yeah.
And when we walked in, I remember having to really hold it together so that you didn't think that I was freaked out. There was just these kind of like school medical style beds covered in bugs and spiders.
Yeah, big boy spiders as well. Them
there was
ones
no
that are
real
size of your hands.
like nets. It was just like
all
a
the nets are all
shed.
ripped. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so there's spiders all over the bed. But I was amazed. I was just so tired that I didn't care about the spiders and I just brushed them away as if it was nothing. And we saw a tarantula outside the door.
I know. Well, this is what I wanted to do is I kind of wanted to, we mentioned obviously Guatemala and Belize. I think we're retracing our steps, right?
Yeah.
And let's go through it. For those people that don't understand how the show works, if you've never seen Race Across the World, firstly, honestly, watch it. I'm not just saying this because we did it. It's a fascinating show, and it's so much about kindness of strangers and beautiful places in the world that you never really think to go to. So what would happen is there are 4 pairs in the celebrity version. There are 4 pairs, and each pair get an allotted amount of money, and it's not a lot of money. And you get told your starting point is, in our situation, it was Isla Mujeres in Mexico, and your ending point is Peninsula de la Guajira, which was in Colombia. Yeah, exactly. It reminds me of Gojira. We knew we had to get from there to there, but in between, you have to stop at certain checkpoints. So you've got 5 checkpoints in between that you have to stop at. It's hard. And at each checkpoint, you open a book that you sign into and you see if out of all the pairs, you're there first.
And you've got no phone and no money.
Yes. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. As I say, a lot of amount of money, no phone, and you have no idea where you're going.
Yeah.
So you couldn't brush up on the language. That was ridiculous. So, look, we got to Heathrow. So this is all off camera. By the way, the build up to it, they weren't saying nothing, were they?
No.
About where we were going.
We don't have a clue.
Don't have a clue. Genuinely don't have a clue. You thought we were going to India.
We just have a backpack with knickers and socks and a toothbrush.
You thought we were going to India.
Yeah, I kind of had this visual of us at the Taj Mahal.
Yeah. I saw a psychic that said we were going to see monks. So I thought we were going to Tibet or somewhere that
would
way.
have been good.
Yeah, that kind of Himalayas way.
Yeah.
But
You
We
saw
got to
a
Heathrow.
psychic to find out where we were going.
No,
Right.
it was
you
part
were
of it.
obsessed with where were we going.
Well, it was part of it. Yeah. It was partly the reason why I asked where you think we were going. But yeah, so that didn't work. But we ended up, we got to Heathrow, we opened up the note and it said, you're going to Mexico. You're getting on a plane to Mexico. And all we knew at the time is we were getting on a plane to go to Cancun. So we got to Cancun and then we were moved to Isla Mujeres.
In the middle of the night.
In the middle of the night.
So we couldn't see where we were.
Yeah, literally in the middle of the night. We get there and we start the race. And do you remember when they revealed that first location of where we're going? What, Flores?
Petin.
Flores
as you
Petin.
say it.
No idea. But as soon as they said go and we were on that beach, what were your thoughts?
I was terrified, actually. The anxiety. I've never been in that competition environment. And all of a sudden, when the gunshot goes off, you'll just start legging it in any direction. And it's so hot. And it's kind of like, the only way I can explain it was like, you know, if people have ever done escape rooms.
Yeah.
It feels a lot like that, where you've got really high adrenaline and you're kind of making weird decisions because you don't really know where to go or what to do. And the panic is so big. Or like...
And you've got, by the way, like you're making these decisions and you've got a camera crew. And this is the thing that I find hard, right? So we had amazing crew, right? We are, you know, they were the best. And you know, we all got on so well and it was wicked. But you do always have this paranoia of like, they know you're messing it up.
They know when we're on the wrong bus going in the wrong direction. Yeah.
And so like you're kind of like half looking at them and they're like following you and you're like knowing if you're going the complete wrong way. And reminder, again, no phone, no nothing like that. You're literally using like, you know, a compass. So when we were in that for the first time, and I remember it was just, for us, it was like get off the island because it's Isla Mujeres is a tiny little island just off of Cancun. And I just remember thinking, we've got to get off there because we've got to get away from Cancun because it's so expensive.
Yeah. I just remember running through the streets in absolute panic, like what way do we go to get off the island? And I felt so embarrassed that everyone else was on their vacations, like drinking their pina coladas, and we're like, help us, help us.
Do you think we had a game plan?
I don't think we had a game plan.
Do you not?
The only game plan actually
that
I feel you gave us a vision for was save some money to spend.
And it come in handy.
On taxis at the end.
It does come in handy.
Yeah.
They do come in handy. But the money thing is always got to be the game plan. It's how you do that money. I think at the beginning, though, it was such a mad dash. Mexico was hard because you're learning what to do. We were in this place called Valladolid.
We ain't ever gonna leave Valladolid. Do you remember I made a song about it because we were there so long?
I know. You kept singing it over and over again. We basically have to find this bus timetable and trying to work out your next move. And that was what, day 3, day 2? And I think that was the closest I probably come to quitting because I realised I couldn't make a decision.
Yeah.
And I just kept getting back in this queue to talk to this poor lady. It was wild. And then finally we made the decision. We just kind of legged it and got our way somehow into Guatemala. And they didn't really show it, but we genuinely thought we were last. That first leg.
You were driving me up the wall with that.
Why?
I've done the math.
Oh,
I think we're 12 hours behind right now. Harley, I'm terrible. One night we're in bed and I'm so tired. We're carrying that backpack all day and I'm like, oh, I'm so glad just to lie down. And you're like, Harley. I was like, yeah, I've done the math again. We're definitely 22 hours behind. And I was like, just go to sleep now. Go to sleep now, Roman.
I know. But that's how my brain works. I can't not think about it. Like you had this innate ability to be able to just like fall asleep anywhere. At 8:30 every night, you wanted to go to bed. And my brain's still whirling. We made it to Guatemala, and that was our first checkpoint. We made it to Flores. Beautiful place.
Flores was really beautiful. The 6 to 8 hour buses that we took down there were kind of wild. It's like, how many people can you fit in a minivan? Roman had a lady sit on his lap half the way.
Yeah.
I had a man sharing a hip to hip on the bus. That's a bit they don't show, which it was exhausting.
The number one thing that really annoyed me as well is my mates watched that first episode. They were texting, they're like, oh, good from production, getting the bus to break down. I'm like, are you joking? Finally find our way to Flores. And then we get this bus and we finally find it. And, you know, keeping in mind, we've been traveling for what, 6 days at this point, just about to cross another border, get on this bus. And as the bus pulls out of the car park, not even down the road, the car park, right? We've paid for this bus. Clutch has gone completely. Everyone has to get out. Harley's nearly punching the bloke behind the desk because he won't give us our money back, which is ridiculous, by the way. Like, won't give us our money back.
They edited that bit out.
Yeah, but it was a fair argument. Like, it was a fair argument. Those bits you don't see, like, obviously the real frustration behind it, because obviously they've got to move on. But that was the hardest moment on that journey, realizing how we're going to do this.
I give you it though. You were so good at the navigation and the communication.
Basically, you were cups and ice.
Yeah, I was cups and ice. I was there for a fun time. I was put some tanning oil on, and I was happy to follow you wherever you wanted to go.
No, we made decisions together.
No, we did. Yeah, we made decisions together.
I thought we were quite good on like, because basically you've got a decision to make, right? When you start and when you leave to the next checkpoint, you've got that decision to make of, okay, which way are we going to go? What job do you want to do? And I actually think we were really good at that. Never once disagreed on where we want to go.
No, I think we were a really good team.
Yeah.
And I think because we had the opposite skills for the other one, I think, you know, you were really good at the navigation. You were really good at the communication, getting the language for people to understand you. You were really good at getting the list and checking it twice, going to find out if this bus is naughty or nice.
Yeah, exactly.
And I would have
telling you to, have you got your passport?
Yeah,
have you got the money?
And I would have just been happy and not checked the bus. But then I had the energy to keep pushing us and help make decisions.
It was that first bus where they put your bag on top. Oh God, I must have asked the poor bloke to stop 4 times. Like,
just want to check Holly's bag still.
Just want to check it's still on the top, because you go to these countries and like literally they just chuck the bag on the top and it's not even tied down.
Yeah.
So you just like open. Got to Guatemala and then we had to go to El Salvador.
Mm-hmm.
El Salvador, that leg, you know, that kind of second leg, that was a bit tough because we went through the protests that were going on in Guatemala.
Oh yeah.
And that was pretty.
Yeah.
It was more intense than people think.
Yeah, there was a national strike in Guatemala and there were really like kind of armed police and stuff around blocking the streets. When you're in a country where you don't know where you are, you're not really sure what's happening, and people are protesting, it feels quite scary.
This is one of my favourite parts of the trip. We went to the oldest football pitch on planet Earth.
Oh yeah, you were so happy with that, a Mayan football pitch.
Yeah, we went to a Mayan football pitch, and those people that are saying Mayans didn't play football, no, they didn't. But they used to play that like hip ball. Like they had like a ball and they'd like hit it with their hip, and it was essentially the first ever like version of football. But that was the chicken coop bit that we stayed in. Yeah,
that was when we stayed in a chicken coop, and there was tarantulas outside.
But best food we had.
Yeah,
he made us a curry. It
was nice, you know, when you finally got to the destination that you know you're going to stay in.
Yeah. That
felt like, thank goodness we're here.
Then we leave there and we end up going to a place called Antigua. I had an absolute meltdown.
Yeah.
Do you want to explain the meltdown?
Yeah, so we arrive in Antigua. It was a little bit expensive. We didn't realise it was kind of peak tourism season. Yeah. We're walking around and it was our max budget to stay anywhere. And so we go to the first hostel and we say, no, it's okay, we'll start looking. Then we kind of end up getting quite lost and it just actually gets more and more and more expensive.
It's about 35 degrees. We are walking for 4 hours.
Yeah. And we hadn't eaten anything and I wasn't allowed to buy not one cup of coffee on the road. And I was really upset about that.
No, that made no sense. You had, for good reason, you were allowed to bring coffee sachets.
Well, there wasn't any hot water.
You were allowed to bring coffee sachets.
You don't know what it's like to have caffeine addiction with coffee. You don't know. Anyone listening who drinks coffee will know it's like a religious need.
But you had so much in your bag. Why'd you never use that?
Well, we didn't have any cups or hot water.
Oh God. But anyway, but look.
Anyway, so we got so lost, and Roman was really determined to find a cheaper place.
They
to
were
stay,
expensive. They were
and it was
expensive.
getting more and more expensive.
Yeah.
We walked for 4.5 hours. We were so lost. We were so hot. We were so hungry.
Yeah.
And then by the time we found somewhere to stay, you were really annoyed that you'd let the team down, and you kept pushing.
It was more of a reflection of like, you finally find the cheapest place that you can find, and it's only like £5 cheaper.
Yeah.
And then you're like,
And we'd spent 4.5 hours.
Yeah, that's
the
that's
day.
on me. I was like, yeah, that's my fault. I was like, sorry. I really thought we could find somewhere.
But then that was incredible in Antigua with all the volcanoes, and they just had a volcano erupt only
yeah.
like
I think if I was going to
10
say to
years
anyone
before.
in Guatemala where to go,
Antigua.
I'd say there. Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
I think that was definitely our favourite place.
Yeah.
But then we had to make our way to El Salvador, and we get to El Salvador. We come second, by the way. Oh, by the way, we came second in the first leg and then second in the second leg.
Yeah.
And we get there. And
I was quite happy with second.
You were happy with second?
Yeah.
Do you want to know?
It was safe.
Safe at second.
Safe at second.
Safe. But I think if you watch back the second episode and you see Harley and I running towards this hotel in El Salvador, this place called El Zonte. It was really nice, beautiful place. We're like legging it, right? And you're sweating. Like
I was so embarrassed.
Like you're sweating
that we were
because
being filmed.
well, no, because the thing is at the end of the day, that was one of our game plans actually. Is we knew that we can run. You know, we can run if we need to. And so the only time where running is going to come in handy is when you are running to the checkpoint. So we both kind of made a promise to each other that we were like, we're going to do it.
Yeah.
You know, we used to call it your PT sessions, basically.
Yeah. You were a good teacher.
Yeah, but it was like,
run, Harley, run for your life.
Exactly. But you know, we both said, okay, we're going to do that. We're legging it in El Zonte in El Salvador. There's a clip that you'll see where we come up to this guy, and it's a nice American man.
Oh yeah.
But let me tell you, he gives us the directions in the clip, but the first thing he said wasn't that, and it was so annoying. What did he do?
Well, you said, excuse me, where's the skate park? Where's the skate park? And he goes, what's it worth to you?
I wanted to hit him. Obviously, I would never. But in my brain, oh my god!
We're like, we clearly have run for half an hour.
You don't.
It's worth a lot.
You don't look at someone running towards you. Someone is sweating, like
Grinting
with bags.
for our lives.
It's me and my sister. We're sweating, running for our lives. Like literally, like you don't go, what's it worth to you? You just tell them where to go. El Zonte was good. Lots of good-looking people. You got distracted by that.
Oh my god, there were some hotties.
I know. Well, the thing is the whole story is basically about you being single.
Yeah.
I'm an anxious mess, and you're single.
It's just a shame I don't look more glamorous in it, because it's a good
It's hard to look glamorous in that.
But it was funny because we'd done the buses in Mexico, the coaches through Guatemala. We're stinking, we're sweating, we don't see anything other than these like 2-car towns. And then we arrive in El Tunco.
Yeah.
And it was like I'd walked into a dream, like Barbie's dream house, all full of Kens. It was like these hot, topless surfers, just like a mirage. I didn't know if I was just so tired and hungry and exhausted that I'd made it up. It was honestly, I'm going back next summer actually.
Like, yeah, I'm not surprised. Like, genuinely, like you know them fellas that stand outside Abercrombie?
Yeah.
It was like everyone that had a surfboard looked like that.
Yeah.
But they did. Like, it wasn't like it was everyone.
Well, you could buy me some surf lessons for Christmas.
Whatever. Like that was ridiculous. But yeah. So El Salvador, weird to go in a country that's like newly opened.
I did laugh though that we came last after taking the stop in El Tunco with the topless surfers.
Yeah.
Because
we came last.
I was distracted.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It was worth it.
Well, no, because we had to travel to we went from El Salvador to Honduras. We got stung a little bit by a nice guy, but he did us over.
He was topless. He was dreamy.
No, I'm talking about the owner of the hotel.
Oh yeah,
I forgot about that. You're still thinking about the men. No, we there was a bloke that basically said to us, he's going to go fishing and then he's going to come back and get us. That killed us.
Yeah, we were waiting for that boat for 2 hours.
Yeah, we would have been 4 hours closer.
Yeah,
and we would have got somewhere. We had so many good legs, you know. We went from
good running legs.
Yeah, we did. But I've got to say, I think the most fascinating leg that we had was traveling from Panama to Colombia to Medellin.
Yes.
Reason being is that we got to Panama and then we're told that obviously they've got the thing called the Darién Gap.
No tourists.
Yeah, no
can
tourists.
Go through there. It's basically just a part of Panama that is dense jungle and gang territory.
Gang territory is known for drug trafficking, human trafficking. That's what it's known for. The only way you can get to Colombia is with a 9.5-hour boat journey.
That was possibly one of the worst things I'd experienced, that boat journey.
Near on the most dangerous thing I've ever done in my life.
Yeah.
I've done your skydiving, your bungee jumping, all those types of things. That boat journey,
we were literally being
mega. And it was a storm, and it was mega. I remember having my hand on the back of your life jacket, thinking, okay, if we go over here, at least I've got you.
Yeah.
And I can swim.
Yeah.
So we get this 9.5-hour boat journey, and we realise, okay, we're not good. It's getting dark. The sea is so bad. We're not going to make the whole journey. We're going to have to stop. And where we stop is on this group of, it's like a tiny group of islands, right? And when I say tiny group of islands, like each island is like 100 meters long.
Yeah.
And it has basically a family on each. And the area is called, you can look this up, the Guna Yala. It's Guna space Yala. Amazing people, right? Being an Arsenal fan, the first thing I said to them was like, I'm also a Guna. Yeah. What are the chances of that? So we stay with this lovely family on San Blas Island.
Senor Blas.
Yeah. And we stayed with this amazing family. We had 100 meters of it's a beach. If you were to draw what paradise looks like, that's their home, and they're in this.
It's unbelievable.
Kind of
it's just
hut that they've built.
Yeah, a hut with some
hammocks and a
and
grill,
some baby pig.
Yeah, a baby pig called
and like
Oreo.
6 dogs and a boat, and they just go over and cut vegetables and
bring it back, and that's how they live. And and that was amazing to see. So we get there and we stay on this island, and we chat to the family, all that type of stuff, and then we go to bed. And then all I remember is going to sleep on a hammock just on this island, basically in between these trees. And I woke up and you weren't in your hammock.
Yeah.
And then I panicked, and I can just see something going on.
I had my period, and I think being on that boat, being smacked like that, did something crazy to me, because I woke up in the night with such bad period pain, and we're on an island. There was no real toilets. There's no shower. There's nothing.
No.
And I am literally rolling around on the floor to the point where the pain is so bad that I go blind. And I start...
What do you mean by that? You go blind? What?
Like I just go blind, like in pain. Like
what? Because it just hurts so much?
I couldn't see. No, I physically went blind.
Right.
And then I'm crawling on my hands and knees trying to find the medic, because the medic's always stays where you're staying.
Yeah.
And it went on all night, which is why I wasn't in that next scene where you went into the jungle.
Yeah.
It made me so unwell.
Well, look, the bit we have to talk about the ending.
Oh boy.
It was mental, like mental. And this is going to be the part that annoys me the most, because so many people are going to say, oh, you weren't that close, you weren't that this, right? Basically, long story short, we're traveling from Medellin to the end point, right? The peninsula. We get to as far as we can go, and they tell us we've got to stop because we can't travel overnight. At this point, we thought, that's it.
We're lost.
We're lost. Like, we've lost a day. The next morning, Lewis, our cameraman, I just realised something was different. Like, something was and he'll say it. Because all of a sudden, you felt like that. I looked at the team, and the team were like pumped and ready to run.
Yeah.
And so I'm going...
Because our team can't tell us anything, but we're so paranoid that we're looking for any sort of visible clues. And when we see them all putting their trainers on, getting ready by the door at 5 a.m.
And Lewis is saying to me, have you had enough water? Have you had enough?
Yeah,
I'm looking toilet. Yeah, it's like before someone is a warm-up act for like a 100-meter sprint or something like that. I was ready for it. That was the moment where we were like, okay, something's going on here. And then when we pull up and then first see Molly and Tyler and realise this is a foot race, what happened to you?
I was so full of adrenaline. I actually, what about you, said, when we got out the car and I saw Molly and Tyler, I let out a massive scream because it was so real that we'd had anxiety. And this is it. This is what we have raced for 5 weeks for.
6 weeks at this point.
6 weeks for. And we see Molly and Tyler at the final checkpoint run. Not only was I scared because this was it, I was scared because it was them and they're so fit.
They're so fit.
And I thought, we are going to run against them. And all of a sudden, this wash of fear came over me as we started running. I felt like I wasn't getting anywhere, like a bad dream. And you said I looked like I had rigor mortis.
Yeah, you're well, because I'm like sprinting alongside Tyler, going, keeping up. It's just about keeping up with him. He's fast, man. He's built like a tank, and like you're just ahead of Molly, and then I turn around and I look at you, and you're like, all right, looking like you're gonna die.
I've gone green.
So I've run back. I've taken your bag. Anyway, we get to a point. If you've got to watch it, right? It's insane. So we're running like against each other. We're racing through someone's house at some point, like literally in this tiny little town in the north of Colombia, barren, like no one really there. And it was
just like Mad Max. That town.
Mad Max, but like it was like we were in Mission Impossible. Like we're pushing each other out the way. Like, but what I loved about it is because we became really good friends with Molly and Tyler. Neither of us wanted to go easy on one another, and that felt good. It was like we were respectful enough of each other to go, nah, go for it. But we are dashing at this point. We are fully dashing, and then the big moment happens, right? And this is where your spoilers coming in, right? Tyler gets to a boat 6 seconds before me. Gets to a speedboat. Tyler jumps in the boat. We jump in the boat. I get you in. We sit down. Tyler's boat all of a sudden just goes. And their boat gets jammed. And you just hear...
That was a lucky break, baby. I couldn't believe our eyes.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it, right? Our boat goes, but we're still only 30 seconds ahead, right?
I think we were less than that. We were about 5 seconds ahead.
Yeah, and then their boat starts going and it's coming up quick. And we get to that end point. We jump out the water. We're running through the mountain. Getting up, I see the book and I'm ahead of you at this point. I'm not even looking for you. I just keep hearing you in the back going, run. So I'm just going as fast as I can. Molly and Tyler are right behind you. As I touch onto the book, I realise both of us have got to touch the book at the same time.
Yeah, you have to have both hands on the book.
So I have to run down, get your back. I'm pushing you up, and then we both do it, and we did it.
Oh, man.
We hadn't come first the whole show, and we chose the last moment.
That was what I wanted. I just wanted to wait till the end. Honestly, I think if you heard my voice, my voiceover while we were doing that run.
Oh, horrible.
My internal monologue was, I'm going to be sick. Call an ambulance. I think I'm going to pass out. It was so hot. We were so exhausted. I had water. I did it in my hand at one point. I didn't know whether to drink it or throw it over my body. It was just beyond. And when we were on that boat, I wasn't sure whether to cry or laugh.
I had to get you back in the zone.
At your football manager.
Yeah, but you had zoned out because you had gone into you were in shock.
I was in shock.
You were in full shock. You were like still, I knew we still had to run, and you were in full rigor mortis again. And we're like looking at the ground. So I just thought, nah, okay, I've got to snap you out of this because this is it now. This is the last one.
Yeah, but you were doing football manager on me. Back of the net. This is the one. And I thought, I'm not freaking Arsene Wenger here.
Yeah.
Like, why are you talking to me like that?
Well, we did it. And they're the most amazing picture. And listen, I couldn't have raced against two great. But in that moment, it was so brilliant that it was Molly and Tyler because, they were so great. And I think
it couldn't have been any better.
No.
Okay, I've got a quick question though.
Yeah, go on.
If it was us and Dylan and Jackie running up the hill.
Oh, I love them so much. I might have accidentally fallen over. I will say that.
Would you have let them have it?
I don't know. That would have been a horrible moral choice.
That would have felt really bad.
Yeah, that would have been a horrible moral choice because I loved them.
Because I loved them.
Yeah.
But Molly and Tyler, we felt it was too much fun. We were mates.
Yeah, exactly.
We were just pushing each other. Tyler's trying to ghost you, pretend he's going the wrong way.
It was horrendous. But I think the funniest thing about that final is as we take a picture at the end all together, all of us, Molly and Tyler look amazing.
They're so good.
Molly and Tyler look amazing. I look like I've got a wig on. I look like I need to go to Turkey. You're all sweaty, like
I look like a skeleton with hair. All my weaves have grown out.
Yeah. So, but we did it. We actually did it. I still can't believe it now. How did we win that?
Absolute luck of the draw. That's the thing that's so amazing about the show. You think you've got a strategy. You think saving 50p on no coffees was going to get us to win it, but it really didn't.
It was
just luck.
No, it wasn't. We did it. Okay, there's a bit on this podcast that we do called The Big Question, right? So it's basically like, we both answer like a thought-provoking question. And trust me, with Tom, everything is thought provoking. So I thought, from our time away, are there any questions that you would have that, the big one that we can do today?
When we were staying in places like Sandblass Island, you're stripped back to your fundamentals.
Yeah.
Obviously, you had an emotional day that day.
Yeah.
How does it change your perspective of your life? Just a family, living on an island, no pressure, no expectation, no, credit cards, bills, just going out and cutting plantain and coming home and eating it together. As someone who sometimes carries the weight of the world and the stress, like, what does that change your perspective?
I think it changes your perspective on what's important. That's the main thing, is it's about what's important in life. And I think meeting that family, and this is like probably like the most gap year thing you can ever say, it does make you realize that how much of our world is infected by things that don't matter.
Yes.
Like that 100%, and it's trying to pull yourself out of there all the time, because and what you realize is that actually the happiest people in life are the people that don't necessarily have everything, because they've got no comparison, that's, we live in a world that's constant comparison, constant things like that. And
it was the thing that fascinated me the most getting home.
Yeah.
Was just that feeling of, oh my God, in London where we are so oversaturated with stuff, things, important meetings, status. How are we going to get that thing? How are we going to get the next thing? And how am I going to get a better place to live? And how am I going to get a better? And everywhere that we went, everyone was really content with what they had because they weren't chasing more.
They were happy with anyone that I've met in the UK.
Yeah.
Like, fact.
Yeah.
Like, they just were, because it's exactly it. They're not on any treadmill.
And do you think that you can hold on to that thought as something, you kind of open a door into what a simple life could look like? I guess, like, would you carry that into coming back home for times where you think, oh, I've got this and I've got this to do, and I'm so stressed and so don't, and you think, well, how much
nothing
more
matters.
How much more do I really need? And the fundamentals, like we saw, it's like having your health, your family, your food.
But that's why I actually got really emotional that day, is because it was actually genuinely because I went out with the man, Mr. Blass, and we had a really dodgy moment where they were like, the work that you've got to do is actually in the Darién gap bit. I was like, what, the bit with human traffic? Yeah, okay. So we go through there, and I'm walking through the jungle with him, and chopping trees down, and we trek for 2.5 hours basically. And poor Laura, who was on our team, was like dripping, sweating. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, making it through whilst we kind of trudge through. Dense jungle, dense. We get to this area, and it's just like a clearing. It was really beautiful, and it was just chopping down planting and things like that. And all of a sudden, it is that moment where I realised, there's so much more to live for than what we think we have to live for now. Like, there's so many beautiful parts of the world that, whether that be part of nature or whatever, or just different forms of happiness. And we're so caught up in, as you say, I've got to get this car, I've got to get this house,
I've got to get Instagram followers,
got
to get
who
likes.
Cares? Like, who cares? It's nothing to do with that. That's probably the biggest thing I learned on the show. Good question. I like that. Your first go at a big question, and boy, was it big. Deep, but I think that's probably the most that you take away from the experience, isn't it?
It is, like you say, you don't want to gap year people when you say you find yourself. But
it's not about finding yourself. I found other people, and realised that other people are happy.
Yeah.
And like, well, what are we chasing?
It's refreshing to be reminded, what are we actually all chasing here?
Yeah. So, on the podcast, we usually, Tom and I will give each other our calendars, and we have a look at what each other's doing, just question why we're not seeing each other. Obviously, Tom's been away, he's been on tour so long, but I think with ours, I want to change calendar swap today to a little bit more of a question, I guess, which is, do you think how we see each other and how frequent we see each other has changed since we've done it?
Yeah. I hope we continue to see each other more.
Yeah.
I don't think we saw each other much at all, other than at Mum and Dad's house. Just
no.
Really, it's such a different thing. That's why I was really looking forward to doing the race overall.
Why do you think that is, though?
Well, I think when you're brought together in a family dynamic, you're sharing a conversation, as a four.
No, but
For
why,
us,
like, it's more so like I would say, like, I think that now I feel easier to hang out with you because I know you.
yes,
Like, and I can piece together the bits that I never understood, where I just thought, is she just being a dick, or is she just being so like extroverted beyond? Why? Now I know why.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? And you're not. It's just you.
yeah.
Like, there are just parts of you that are, and we are completely different in those ways. Surely you must have had that vice versa with me.
Yeah. Well, now I know you. I've seen you on the toilet of a moving bus
Yeah.
and shared a single bed.
Yeah.
I've seen too much.
Yeah, exactly. Too much of anything. Yeah.
No,
But
I
do.
agree. I do agree, because sometimes I think, you and Mum will be worried about something that you don't need to be worried about, and I'd think, oh, it's a bit annoying. Come on, guys.
Yeah, exactly.
But then now I understand. Oh, okay, I understand that that's triggering to them rather than it be them trying to.
I think it's like, well, now because I understand how your brain works, that makes me more like understanding it. And then, like, you take the bits out of the relationship that you like.
Yeah.
I only look at the positives in the relationship. You don't look at the bits
Yeah.
that annoy you. Well, look, that is it from myself and Harley. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. And if you haven't watched Race Across the World, I promise you, catch it on iPlayer now. It's incredible. It really is. Seeing the kindness of strangers is unbelievable. But as always, if you're carrying on with the podcast, I'd love to hear from you on You About. Voice note us on 08000 22 31 23, and we'll get through your voice notes as much as we can, because Tom is returning from next week. We're also on YouTube as well. Make sure you've subscribed. And as I say, next time you see me here with a big man. Thank you so much for watching this latest episode of You About. Don't forget, you can catch us every Wednesday on the BBC Sounds app. Download the BBC Sounds app from your app store, subscribe to You About, and listen to all of our episodes. We also want to hear from you, so make sure you send us a voice note on 08000 22 31 23. We'll see you next week.